All right. On that note, thank you so much for listening. We'll catch you next week. I literally just dropped
Night,
my dice
everybody.
tray. So, hello, hello, hello. You can probably hear me. That's the hope. All right, I've got the D20. I've got the D8. I've got the D10. I've got the D6. I've got the D4. I know all I'm missing is the D12. That's okay. What I can tell you is that the D12 would have been so much fun. Oh, it's all the way over in the back. We've salvaged it, guys. We got it. We got it. Okay. On that note, I am thrilled to start another session of Aeternal playtesting. Now, last we left off, we actually, I say we, but I made a boo-boo. There was some coordination that Micah and I had done before we had gotten into that session regarding Calevor, the city that our characters are trying to get to. Now, I'm also planning on making sure that we get a little bit of travel time that leads up to the city, and then clarifying exactly what the city looks like, because when I got to my notes, I was looking at an entirely different city. Yeah, that's on me. So, let's get down to business, talking brass tacks. We have officially left the Berglind Monastery. Now, we've gotten to the point in the seasons of Eshelbel where fall, the planet's equivalent of fall, the autumnal solstice, has officially passed. We're starting to get to darker and darker nights, temperatures dropping. You have been going for a few weeks. And if I may, I think we've already done this, but I'm actually going to have you guys go. Give me a couple different rolls as we get going. Now, I'm going to let you guys use your body stats, so that's brawn and grace, your mind stats, senses and smarts, or your soul stats, will and aware, to dictate what insight you want to glean as you travel. We're going to get probably 4 rolls, and as we go, if you guys do well, you get a little bit more lore and a little bit more visual of how the continent of Malbanara, the nation of Malbanara, looks, right? So I'm really excited for you guys to pick this and to see what aspects of the story you want to engage with. For now, I'm going to have you guys... First, let me remind myself, because this continent is huge. Here it is. You guys head almost directly west. There's a couple peaks over in that direction. Some have nicknamed them the Dragon Scales. And that is in direct reference to the monastery and the sacred nature of what happens there and whom the Dragon Scales represent. But as you follow, you continue through a dense forest. This is what's the proper word? Not coniferous, because that's the pine trees, that's the cones and things like that. We're talking leaves, we're talking
deciduous.
Thank you, deciduous. This deciduous forest is dense, it's lush, it's alive, and there's many different creatures in the woods that sneak too close to your traveling troop. While you may be traveling just the 3 of you, or just the 5 of you, if I believe you've called Ruckus to go with you, and you want Alkali's back at the monastery. Quill is going with you. And in pursuing that, you guys are doing your best to go quickly, but go stealthily. But maybe that might not be the strategy here. What do you guys think you would be doing? Would you want to move speedily and loudly, or would you want to be a little more stealthy as you move through this forest?
Is the forest all that dangerous?
At this point, I think that Ophelia would be the only one to know that. So I'm going to roll a contested roll. It's not going to be super difficult. I'm going to go off of a D8 to start with. And understanding that you are already native of the mountains, I think the only difficulty you would have is the fact that this is a different portion of the forest that you've already crossed through more than once in getting to Brule and traveling elsewhere. So I'm only going to give myself a +1 modifier just for the sake of chance, right?
Okay.
All right. So what did you get?
straight roll or adding
Go
a
ahead and
stat?
add a modifier and make this mind. What if it comes to like your intellect in recalling what's going on?
Okay, so then I'm gonna do senses.
Great.
Which gives me a 10 total.
Awesome. I rolled a total of 3. So you are definitely well adept at what happens in this forest. And what I can tell you is that typically this time of year is when the major carnivores are starting to go into hibernation, right? There are some panthers that might be out and about as they're getting the last dredges that the larger carnivores have taken out, right? But as of right now, you have not yet seen them. And you are basically threading the forest, single file, weaving to and fro. Quill's actually helping you guys quite a bit. She is a ranger of sorts, so she is going to be guiding you guys and saying, don't step over here, come over this direction, watch out for this, duck your head. Actually, don't worry about that firestorm. And she makes all kinds of jokes about height and how cute the firestorm is throughout the journey.
And I hate it.
Now, you guys have an opportunity to go north around the prairies of the Aemarys, and that is actually, if I'm looking at this correctly, my map tells me that across the entire continent from one side to the other, it is 1,200 miles. So if you were to go around this one portion, that's close to 100 miles in diameter. So you guys are going basically up and around. That's the fastest route, or you take maybe 150-mile loop just to get around those prairies. It's
You know
gonna
how
take
long
weeks.
150 miles is on foot? Holy.
Yeah, dude, you're traveling. But by the time you get there, it's gonna be Christmas. I'm just gonna tell you that right now. Dead of winter.
I think we're taking, at least Firestorm would not even think that it was a decision to be made. He's just going the direct route.
Got it. That's going to mean the closest point of civilization and like a place for shelter potentially will be Alpharos, the capital of Malbanara. Now we can bench over there and then jump over to Kilvor, but we need to make sure we get some world rolls. So as the seasons turn, I'm going to be increasing the scene threat level. That is a modifier that I get to use as karma to be able to provide you guys some resistance in context of the story. I'm still going to keep a D8 because technically that's beneath what you guys have. But I'm going to be using those modifiers to kind of explain how the world is responding to you and how the threats in a scene are beginning to combat your efforts. So as far as I know, you guys are going that direction. Let's give you 3 solid rolls. I'll let each of you do one, and then you can pick who rolls the last one, okay? Each one is essentially, especially with winter coming on, each roll is going to comprise essentially 2 to 3 weeks of travel. And we're going to be dictating how that goes. Right now, we're kind of deciding weather and how you will be able to avoid or plow through different elements in that regard. A critical failure on your part, meaning that I get 3 more than your roll, will result in some kind of danger, immediate danger. All right, let's get into this. You guys come around the north side of the prairies of the Aemarys. And as far as you know, Ophelia, you don't even need to really pass close by because you can smell the place. It is rancid. The prairies, in all reality, are more of a bog. And as far as you know, the rumors go that they are haunted. In fact, a lot of what you did when you and Jericho, when you guys came around, you would smell that on a bad day when the wind was just blowing wrong. Or in your direction, I guess exactly right. What I'm going to have you guys do, you guys can vote who is going to roll. Go ahead and take that first roll, and we'll see how it goes. I'm going to roll mine right now. With the weather as it is right now, there's probably no threat. It's getting colder, so I'm only going to give myself a +1.
All right, who's run?
I can do it. We get to choose a thing, right?
You get to choose a thing to help push you forward. So yeah, play to your strengths. Like this is a chance to show off your character and what they can do.
Well, I think Firestorm's gonna use aware because that seems to make the most obvious sense. And the
That's
last
great.
time we boosted one of his one of his skills, it was aware because
Mhm.
he realized that he needs to be more on top of it if he's gonna have his friend survive.
It's a great point.
All right, so that's a 12.
12 total. With my total of 6, you got a crit. I'll say that
Nice.
would put you a couple days ahead of schedule. And so even with 3 weeks on the docket, you're able to get there in maybe like 17, 18 days. You're that much further ahead, right? Now, the weather is, let me roll this. That roll was essentially how the weather currently is. The weather starts to, it continues getting colder, but you're starting to get a bit more humid as you start approaching the coast. That's also going to be bringing in a little bit change of weather. So you start seeing a bit of precip. Your morning dew turns into ice, and whatever plant life or brush or grasses in this grassland is going to start turning more and more brown. Animals are going to be becoming more sparse. Hunting and trying to gather food for yourself are going to be more challenging. So while you and your party are certainly able to go hunting and find those things, it's actually going to bump you up in difficulty. I'm going to give the weather is going to be remaining a +1 because it's not super intense. But as far as food is concerned, I'm going to be adding a +1 as well. Now, Ophelia, it is your turn to roll. Go ahead and play to your strengths. Tell me what you're rolling so I know how to flavor this.
I'm also going to go with aware.
Nice.
Partially because, I've been sort of passed this way before.
Mm-hmm.
Technically, the last time when Jericho and I went through here, we went down the bottom half.
Correct.
Of the map. Taking a picture.
We have a tradition. If you get a crit, you have to roll. You have to take a picture and send it to chat. It's the most passive-aggressive success story I've ever seen. Okay.
I should get my real dice out. I've been using my my app dice.
Yeah. Get your real dice, boy. Okay. So with that in mind, yeah, I'm going to keep... Oh, I need to get your roll done. Okay. You got a 12 total?
13 total.
13 total, thank you. And you actually are going up against a 10 total. So that's still a crit in benefit of you. You're able to shave off another few days. You are chugging along. Even as the weather turns, even as that coastal wind starts to bring in moisture and freezing cold from the ocean, you're still plowing ahead. Now, the very last day that you're on the road, the last few weeks that you're on the road, because this is probably the longest trek that you could take cross country. It's the shortest path, but this is one of the longest traveling distances of Malbanara. Your last roll is going to dictate perhaps the last week of travel because we've been shaving off so much. And that in mind, as we start veering north, you guys have been traveling almost entirely west, but you enter into the beginnings of a mountain range. You see rolling hills from a distance, and those hills become taller, sharper, spinier, craggier. And the more you press into these mountains, the more difficult it gets. And that's before the storm hits. Snow begins falling heavily. You guys are going to be dealing with rocky terrain, which will be a +1, and a storm, which will get you up +2. So a total of 3 for the modifier. Now, to make sure that we get the last bit of this as fair as possible, I want you guys to tell me how well you have done or how well you intended to do in keeping your rations up. I believe you guys also have winter gear, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, Firestorm isn't thinking about that at all.
Okay.
I'm going to assume as a player that Kirdan would definitely be like looking at the logistics of that.
I think that's fair. Go ahead, Ophelia.
I was going to say, as far as rations, Ophelia's parents would have definitely made sure that they were very, very well stocked.
Yes, that's fair.
And also, Ophelia knows how to, like, forage and do all that sort of stuff.
Yeah. So, Ophelia, Kim, let's put this above table.
Okay.
Understanding that
You have a
Firestorm's
table?
It's the virtual table. It's the virtual tabletop. Hashtag sponsored, not sponsored. So, Micah, owing to the fact that you're not necessarily paying attention to rations, but Kirdan is, he's kind of got your back in that regard. I want you to roll a flat dice roll against Ophelia flat. This is, in essence, she's representing both Kirdan and she as they're helping you maintain your rations. All right?
Okay. I rolled a big ol' 2.
Nice.
I rolled a 9.
A 9. Okay, that
So
is
pretty
much
pretty
more than a
close,
crit.
honestly. It's neck and neck.
It's neck and neck,
yeah.
Man, you guys are lucky. That was really close. By the skin of your teeth, you're able to manage some restraint on Firestorm's behalf. And really, I think what the numbers are trying to tell us here is Firestorm is so focused on getting home. He's still eating, but it's like the bare minimum. There's a nervous energy that comes to him the closer he gets to home. And I don't think that that's not unnatural for him. But there is this great unease that comes bigger and heavier the closer you get. Every step feels like it gets heavier for you, Firestorm. And I think that might be why you're not as affected. So let's get to our final roll. Firestorm or Ophelia, which of you would like to contest against the elements as you approach the Stonebrow capital of Kilvor?
Kim is the dice goddess, so I'm gonna let her do it.
Dice goddess. Great. Let's do this.
All right. I'll use this. That is 7 plus things. I'm gonna go senses, so that makes it a 10 total.
10 total. Meets it, beats it. You rolled senses.
Mm.
You are paying very close attention to what it is that you can see, hear, feel in the cold, and otherwise use your physical senses to gather information about the world around you. Now, this storm is strong. And as far as we're concerned, I believe that Ruckus and Quill both have a stake in ensuring you guys are doing okay. It's Quill that actually pipes up and points out she's trying to shout over the storm at certain parts, but I'm not going to be shouting here for both the microphone and for my sleeping children. In essence, she would be shouting, and pay attention to the crags over there, and she'll try and point you more to the west. For whatever reason, she is aware of certain trends in approaching this area. She might have traveled this area over the summer while you guys were over in the Aemarys Cove. You haven't asked. You can, but she points out the opposing ridge. And you notice with your senses roll that that ridge continues to bend up and around, curving around the north, as if there is like a geographical erosion that will bring you around the bend further north, more directly north, maybe even northeast from around that bend. The storm is still bad. I mean, I've rolled, it's not good. You guys have managed to avoid combat, and I was prepared to come at you guys with a fight. So well done. Good job. As you're able to come around the bend, I need to break out some cinematics that I've written especially for the occasion. Now, the 5 of you, Kirdan, and Quill and Ruckus and the both of you. You're coming around what feels like the last bend. And Firestorm, with your awareness rolls being what they've been, I would imagine that the closer you get to home, the more anxious you get until the moment you realize this is the Flame Gorge Pass. This is one of the legendary natural features that leads directly into the Valley of Kilvor. And I say valley because as you guys round the corner, the road curves along a wind-carved ridge. And as you've gone on, you've actually accumulated a few more travelers. This is a capital city. It's a capital for only the Stonebrow, but it is a major hub of trade, of invention, of craftsmanship. You can see an expanse of white snow on a mountaintop plain. So this is a high desert plain, and it's exposed to the elements. Then the first parts of a town come into view. Many people in their wagons, the ice is clawing down the sides and almost hanging off the edges of their metal-rimmed wagon wheels. This convoy is about 25 people now, and they're all miserable. You guys are doing pretty well off compared to the rest. But you see through the snow, which is starting to lighten up, it's a small town. It's unassuming, ramshackle, bits and bobbles here and there, growth, ancientness, decay, it's all present there. There are more varieties of cobblestone pathways and carved rock that compose housing, more so than the wood you've been accustomed to in Beargland or even in the Aemarys Cove. As you continue around the bend, a stone terrace comes into view, less ramshackle, more unified. In fact, you can see distinct rock has been selected for a portion of that terrace, unique from its neighboring districts. Another terrace and another. More put together each time, and you notice the terraces ascending, carved not in symmetry, but in claim. Each one of these different terraces has a disjointed feeling, like pieces of a puzzle that were shoved together in orbit around something that is still out of view due to the storm. And each one of these, they're not carved in symmetry of one another. They're marked by some kind of monument cut directly from the rock. There is a colossus in mid-hammer strike. There is a rune spire humming against the sky. You can see giant stone hands cupped. And what appears to be, as the storm parts a little bit, you can see it looks to be like it's holding water and pouring a river down the side of the terraces into the lower districts through a series of aqueducts. And as you keep going, there's a few other pieces that are silhouetted, but that are ultimately consumed in view of the city as a whole. You have seen an entire valley covered in farming fields, then transitioning into townships and smaller civilizations and settlements, all getting more and more dense, more and more rock and brick and cement, all of these works of stone. And the closer and closer you get, you notice the pattern. It's all growing and all ascending. But nothing in this entire city compares. The city doesn't look like it's been built as much as it stands declaring, fighting against the elements as a testament to say, perhaps to gods, perhaps even to their neighboring countrymen, we will not break. And you can hear in the crowd around you, there's children, is that Kilvor? Is that Kilvor? And their parents will respond. Maybe some of the elders in the group would even say something like, no, that's not Kilvor. That's her crown. From there, you press around the last of the bend, and you can tell the majority of the massive carvings, the statues and obelisks that you saw earlier, they sit along the lower portion of a smoldering volcano. The smoky peak itself stands above the entirety of the city below. It looms over the city, threatening destruction and yet providing life and warmth and fresh water in a dismal mountain frozen waste. The city lives because the mountain breathes. This produces 3 distinct visuals as you take it all in from amidst the storm. The mountain hunched over the city, the monoliths and statues dwarfed by the volcano, and a blob of glinting lantern lights, concrete buildings, and cobblestone pathways in concentric districts around the base of the volcano. And the elders, as the children are saying, ooh, and reacting as kids do, the elders will say, that is Kilvor. You guys approach. As you continue pushing through, I'm not going to make you roll unless you'd like to get some insight. There's a few more details that I can point out on your approach, but I'm going to leave it to you to tell me like what you're looking for. So what, as you approach, what visuals, what do you want to learn about the city at first blush? In Firestorm, you might actually have a vetted interest in learning a bit more, considering this is your home.
It's been a while since I've been here. Not too long, you know. Time moves slower for dwarves.
Oh, excuse me.
I think Firestorm was expecting everything to be so different. And in certain ways it is, but for the majority it's like it's almost exactly like I remember.
I will tell you, only a handful of things have changed. There are a series of statues. And these, when I say statues, we think like the David, or we think like any number of like the Renaissance human-sized, right?
Mm-hmm.
No. These statues, these humanoids, are almost as tall as a mountain on their own. They're only dwarfed by the volcano. You can see details from this distance of how large these things are. So when I tell you that there's a craftsman in mid-hammer strike, like holding his hammer to an anvil beneath him, you can see that even from this several mile distance. And that's new. You remember there might have been something like that being talked about, but that's new. And for you, that actually speaks much more to House Deepforge. Now, if you're looking for more, Deepforge. If you're looking for more lore or a reminder of the lore, just drop it in chat and I can drop that to you during our break come 9 o'clock Mountain Time. You would also know, and actually, let me do this. Go ahead and roll me your smarts. I'm going to contest that because I want to know if Firestorm would have a handle on the culture of these guys. It's not going to be a very difficult roll, but I just want to see what he might recall.
So that's a non-natural 10.
Non-natural 10, awesome. Okay. All this in mind, I'm not even going to add a modifier to this because it's your memory and your city. I got a 7. So you know that the monolith that has what looks like runes, like if you remember the movie Atlantis, the Lost Empire, with the heart of Atlantis and those faces that have been carved that orbit the glowing ball in the center, that's kind of what this is doing. The point of the monolith goes up. It's carved in dozens of intricate swoops and swirls and curls of runic energy, but at the pinprick, there's no light, but that seems to be where these massive stone boulders are carved flat and shorn to reflect different runes. And for you, you know that that's House Hammerspell. You also know that each one of these monoliths, these statues, these massive colossi, they each denote one of the 6 major houses. There is a 7th. We'll get to that. Based on where you are standing and looking at the city, you only can really tell, let me double check. Yep, you can only really tell the Iron Root You also manage to see, yes, Deep Forge, Hammerspell, and potentially you would be able to see the Ember Mantle. An Ember Mantle you would recognize as the city's police force and military force. There's not really a whole lot of decoration there, but you can recognize the dark, almost obsidian dark stone that's used to carve them. I'm going to be dropping you guys a map of the city as well. Let me make sure I get that to you so I do not forget.
Yay.
Boop. Now, these are very rough notes. Let's see. Aeternal. There we go. Boop. Not nearly as pretty as the Aemarys Cove map, but I'm going to be getting that map to you as soon as I can. Now, when you get that, go ahead and zoom in what you...
cursive. How am I supposed to read this?
Don't worry. Just get out your Google Translate. I'm sure that it'll pick up Chinese or something. You'll see very hashy handwriting. There are circles with numbers and circles with X's. Okay? Those X's are a specific visual feature that you can investigate from a distance because they're that large. If you look, you would actually be able to tell in number 5, it's that bottom left corner, almost like southwest. That is Ironroot, the Ironroot district, House Ironroot. And you'll notice that there are different steps, STEPPES, that allow for terraced growing. What's odd about this is that even though the storm is so strong, the volcano itself seems to have been a boon enough to keep snow from collecting on top of the city. So as you get closer to the mountain, there's less and less snow. As you get outside of the walls, you start to see more people kind of squatting and hunkering down for the winter. But you'll notice that one of the biggest growing districts, one of the only fields that is still active this time of year, is that stepped and terraced locale for the Ironroot district. That's also where you see those giant stone hands pouring out water into the aqueduct. That's that line that kind of has different juts and branches throughout the district and throughout the south, pretty much from the northwest around to the southwest and then up and around to the southeast. Now, you guys are approaching from that arrow in the bottom right corner of the map overall. And you realize that the traffic is going to pull you through the city, through the townships that are around there. And if you want to enter the city proper, you would need to go to another district that's actually behind Ironroot. And I think Firestorm, you would recognize that one as the Obsidian Crown Gate, otherwise known as the district almost entirely focused on House Badgermole.
Right. Remind me if people, because the Badgermoles are still around somewhat.
The Badgermoles, people have married into the Badgermole family since like the decades that you have not been around, right? But the royal family line, the ones that really had a claim to the throne, they are in the wind. They've been scattered. If people have the stones to try to get in there, they might well have just joined up and made themselves known within the Badgermole gang. But there's really not a lot of vocal members of the family anymore.
So, I think, because are we in a position where this is all visible to us right now?
Yes, you would be able to see. In fact, let me give you a visual. You realize that as you get close, for me, it's fun to describe these guys because I was really excited by the thought as this was coming to me. The Ember Mantle Guard. These guys are the ones that are responsible to police and protect the city, right? From military threat or otherwise. On patrol, these individuals, these Stonebrow, are stocky, but their armor looks like beetles' armor. If you were to look at a really stocky looking beetle, the shoulders of these stone brow, the backs and chest plates of these stone brow, the shins and thigh guards, all of these different pieces look like they were taken from the backs of a beetle and are being worn. The beetle itself might have been some pearlescent, dark, singed gray. And the actual helmets of these guys look like they come from the carapace of a Hercules beetle. So there's a little bit of a crown that flares out at the top of a singular unified spine.
Firestorm talking to the party like, it's actually a big problem here in Kelwood. We got a lot, at least we did, we used to have lots of beetles. Call them, just call them cave beetles. They'll come in and eat your livestock. We've got dastardly strong carapaces.
And how big are these beetles that can eat livestock?
He's going to motion towards a warrior that's walking by. It's not a stone brow. It's kind of like a mini giant, if you would. And he's walking around wearing one of these armors, like all shapes and sizes.
It's actually interesting. As you guys are walking through, speaking of mini giants, the proper term would be half giant if you want to use like D&D. In this world, you would refer to them as Jotara, which is a play off of the Norse, the Jotuns. Now, the Jotara they stand on average 7 feet tall. Average. So they are beastly folk. They're big, and there's a lot of them here. In fact, Ophelia, you're looking at... Tell me what it would mean to you to discover beings from your bedtime stories in the flesh. These are people that you've heard about, an entire lineage of people that only existed in your imagination for the better part of your childhood, but they're here. Giants looming over you, and that's saying something. You are quite small. What do you feel about that as you see these people?
I'm trying very hard not to stare because staring's rude.
No, they love it. It's not rude in their society. Unless you're doing it with a furrow on your brow.
Because I don't want to offend anyone. Admittedly, it's partly I just don't want to get squished, but...
The Jotun looks over and laughs.
Welcome to Kelvor.
Thank you.
This particular Jotara slings a bag of what looks like grain over his shoulder. The bag itself is bigger than Firestorm.
No, it's and nothing's bigger than Firestorm.
So you guys are cruising, and if you look, I'm going to pull that map back up. Excuse me. You guys have started to migrate towards the aqueduct. Now, I'm imagining you guys are coming to the joint where it actually falls away from the Iron Root district, where it comes out of those carved hands. What you're realizing as you approach, you actually see steam coming off of that water.
Have we talked about the middle of the city yet?
Not yet. It's still a volcano. It's literally rising above the rest of the town, right? And the fact that this is volcanic and active volcanic stands to reason where the water that's coming out of this little aqueduct is steaming, and it smells like sulfur. So it has been mineralized, but otherwise it would basically take a little bit of purification, and it's ready to drink, ready to cook with, ready to craft with, anything that these people might need.
Firestorm's like the tour guide. He's like, normally if you live in a volcano, if you don't die from the heat, you're going to die from the poisonous gases. The reason that doesn't happen here, it's been explained to me quite a few times, especially in my childhood. But what it comes down to is magic. So, yeah, I don't know.
You actually, and Ophelia, that actually rings true. You actually remember the sight of that giant runic obelisk with the runes themselves spinning, the sigils spinning around the precipice of that thing. And what he's explaining suddenly makes a bit more sense.
Oh.
Now, you've seen, let me double check my notes here. You've seen so many different things. You've been able to witness trained birds that are flying between districts with small, is it wood? Is it like carved wood? It can't be stone because I'd weigh them down. Maybe it's metal, but there's a metal like cylinder attached to their lower leg. And you see some of them land, and people will hold their arm up and catch them on their forearm, on their bracers for armor. They will remove that cylinder and send them back to wherever they came from, open the cylinder, and unroll it. These are messenger hawks. And as you guys are moving through
This
the
is
town,
the Fire Nation.
you guys are each, you realize that there's so many different elements to all of these things. There's a density here of people. There are, of course, the Yotada, which are actually not as numerous as the rest of town. What's startling to you, Firestorm, is that there's not as many Stonebrow specifically. They're here, but it's almost like the neighboring
Phased
villages
out.
and towns kind of moved in to fill in the space that used to just be farming fields. The city has grown that much. Many of the farming fields that were there are now pretty much underneath some civilized construction, and the farming fields have basically moved further away from the volcano.
Freaking BlackRock. Buying up all the housing space.
Jeez, that's cursed. All right.
They're the economic family. Of
Yeah.
the
Yeah. No, I had a special name for those guys.
That's
Right.
canon now.
Now, as we move closer to break, I wanted to give you guys a couple different opportunities here. You three, I say three because Kirdan is technically here. You three have had the chance to travel for many weeks together now. What might be something that you did out there on the trail to keep spirits up or to connect with your party as we finally have a moment of respite and rest that might make you think, I actually have some chances to hang out with my buddies again. It's no longer just put your shoulder to the wheel and duck your head against the wind. We might have some chance to relax before we get to business. What things did you experience on the trail that led to that yearning for camaraderie again?
Ophelia would have definitely attempted to teach the others how to forage and how to tell, okay, you can eat those, you can't eat those, you can't eat those unless you cook them, avoid those unless you have a death wish.
Firestorm turns around with them in his mouth. What?
Right, that's fine. I know the antidote for that.
It's either delicious tea or deadly poison.
Thank you, Aclara. Now, along the same lines, as Kirdan is traveling as well, I want to make sure that I am taking some creative license here, but I think he would appreciate. I would imagine that he's taken a lot of time to meditate, a lot of time to train and get his katas in. Even so, he is still making the effort to connect with you guys and to offer his commentary. And the dude feels like a compendium sometimes, but that immense knowledge and personality of logic is all in service of a deeper passion. And I think that you might feel that even if Haydn isn't here to portray the character, the feeling that Kirdan brings is one of a level-headed logic that has been honed over his life to temper a powerful emotion within. And in the course of your travels, you actually realize he's not just a vessel of stoicism by name. He truly embodies it. Now, Firestorm, before I move on, I want to make sure that I give you the chance to, take some creative leeway. Like what kind of events would lead Firestorm to want to connect with this party again once we're all settled? Quill is still around, and so is Ruckus.
He's probably gonna. He obviously feels close to Ophelia and Kirdan, but he probably also really likes Ruckus, and he stays away from. Well, the problem is that he can't stay away from Quill because she. Again, I don't know. I think it'd be weird to say that Quill is like into him. I think
That's
she
fair.
just likes patronizing him, or that's the idea that he gets anyways. I don't know what's true. This is Firestorm thinking.
Right.
But it's so weird to him.
You know what? Let's do this. Would you ever confide that in someone like Ophelia or Kirdan? Or even
Absolutely
Ruckus?
not. Absolutely not.
Got it.
Not unless
So
they ask him.
let me do this then. Ophelia, because I want to genuinely see if this would have paced out naturally or if it was just under the radar the whole time. Ophelia, I want you... How guarded are you with your emotions while this woman is around you, Firestorm?
There's no guarding his emotions. He's just in a state of panic. Whether it's
So
just behind the eyeballs or it's out in front.
Very much. Let me ask you this then, Ophelia. Would you ever confront Quill about what she's doing to Firestorm, or would you simply let things roll the way they are?
I'm letting things roll the way they are and wishing I had some popcorn because it's absolutely hilarious to watch.
Go ahead and this is for the sake of maybe one or two occasions, because it was pretty rare that it did happen that she kind of let her guard down. Go ahead and roll either awareness or senses. They're going to give you different details as far as the story is concerned.
I'm going to go with aware, and that is a 12.
Okay. And let me double check the stats here. I believe she is a D8. Yep. 12. She got a 9, so you got a crit. Let's make it worth it. You understand, based off of what you've known of her. Yes. So 9 to 12. That's 3.
Right. I thought a crit was if you get double what they rolled.
Nope. Excuse me. Crits were adjusted so that if you get 3 above what your target is, what your defender is rolling, then that would count as a crit.
Jeez Louise, crits are going to happen so often.
We'll get to that. So, as you tune into her and her experience, you realize, maybe even not even in conversation, because you were just saying you didn't really confront her about it. You observe that she offers sideways looks and little smirks. It's not like a flirtatious pining. It's much more of a, I'm going to screw with you. And then there's one night where, as you are bedding down, she sets her bag down. It was kind of a rough day. She's not doing well. She's a light build, so she's not doing super good against the cold. She drops her bag. It spills out. She reaches down. Ophelia, being the kind person that she is, I'm just going to volunteer this for you. You'd likely stoop down and help out, right?
Oh, yeah, of course.
What would you do as you encounter a copy of an old fable? Let me double check to make sure that I have this right. The fable is called, it's a hardback cover of a classic fable called The Servant and the Dwarven Duke. Now, this particular fable has to do with a romantic relationship between a Dwarven Duke and an elven servant.
Well, I can tell you right now, Ophelia has definitely read that one.
There is no smut. It's the most Jane Austen of this universe you can get, but it is it is a classic literature romance, right? And it's
She's
even
she's fetishizing me.
yeah. So to some degree, you're getting mixed signals, I think is what you're getting with the crit that you've got. Outwardly, she's totally screwing with him. But then why is she carrying a copy of The Servant and the Dwarven Duke, right? And why is she, I almost imagine she's like, if she can't find it, she's panicking. And when she does, she snatches it and shoves it to the bottom of her bag again, never to be seen.
It's fine. It's a good book.
It's not smart, if that's what you're wondering.
I'm aware. I've read it 3 times.
It's so good.
It is.
You guys have that moment where you could just bookworm it up for a minute.
Oh, absolutely.
The idea that the Duke has to go on his tippy toes and still doesn't reach her lips.
Oh my gosh, that's priceless. Okay. Now, all that to say, you guys have the chance to experience all that again as we get into the city. The problem is, where are you going to stay? Now, Quill's already got some spots, right? She's got her people in town. So she's probably going to take someone with her. Maybe Kirdan, just for sake of continuity here, so that we have something for him to do when he gets back. And to help him feel like a natural transition for him, since he's actually doing something really cool on his own right now. Haydn is. Congrats, Haydn. We love you. We love your fam. So I think that's how we're going to arrange that, which means Ruckus and you two are going to be out and about on the town for the time being. Now, is there somewhere that you'd like to go exploring? Is there anywhere in the central city? Not the township, not the surrounding townies that are out there. Is there somewhere in the city that you'd like to go?
Well, we kind of have to talk about what our goal is here.
Yeah.
So, Firestorm's going to look at Ophelia and Kirdan, but mostly Ophelia, because he just kind of gets the feeling that she's more present. And he's going to say, right, Ophelia. Well, I guess we've got a lot of things we can do here, but what is it you think we should be focusing on?
Well, I'm not sure. Hold that thought. And she's going to take out. She still has the letter that she got from Jeffrey.
Mm-hmm.
Does it have any sort of address, anything like that on it, or was it just like a rolled up scroll, basically?
Right. So for this day and age, a lot of like what medieval times would do, they wouldn't necessarily use words to denote a business, right? They would use, if you were a cobbler, you would have a shoe on a wood plaque outside, right? If you were a blacksmith, all you would really need to listen for is an anvil, or you would see a picture of an anvil or armor glinting in a window somewhere, right? Like maybe not in a window, but you understand what I'm saying. In this case, if you were looking for anything, you'd probably scour that letter and realize there is some, like, the only word that comes to mind is in Spanish, señal, like sign, print, stamp. It's like something of that nature.
Like an insignia.
Yes, thank you, insignia. That is in the bottom right corner. It's not a cross, like that's much too Judeo-Christian. But there is an element of 4 quadrants to this design. There looks to be a swirl. There looks to be a solid square, which seems more craggy and deliberately carved. In this insignia, there is also 3 flowing lines. And then there seems to be another, it's not even like, it's like a star. It's not a flame, it's a star that has heat signaled by more wavy lines, right? Now, that is in the bottom corner, and you imagine that that would be the easiest way to identify him if he is still using that insignia publicly. You got to remember, he was kicked out of Brule, like forcibly so. The Empire was like, nah, you're done. what might you do in this point of conversation? There's still other things to be discussed as well. So maybe it's best we kind of hit on those, and then I can give you some directions to go. So you've already talked about Jeffrey, right?
Yeah. 1 second.
Yeah. And now we wait.
Now
For those,
we eat.
now we wait. For those that are watching at home, thank you so much for joining us. We're really excited to have you here. This is a playtest for a game that we have been designing for, I believe it's close to 3 years now. We're not quite ready to drop this for like backings or anything like that, but we want to give you a sneak peek as to what the game can do and what the intent behind the design is. Oh, hi, she's back.
Right, sorry about that. Someone came in.
You're good. So we just spoke about going to see Jeffrey, definitely on the docket, and you have some way of pursuing some information about him using the insignia. What else would you guys like to go after?
I don't know. That was honestly the top part
The
of my
big
to-do
thing.
list was finding Jeffrey, seeing what this was about.
Great. Firestorm,
Hello.
do you have any to-do items? What would you like to pursue while you're at home?
Well, we should probably find somebody somewhere to rest.
Yes. So if you want, you can go check out where Jeffrey is, or you can go with Kirdan and Quill to find where she has her front here in town. I leave it to you to decide, dear players.
Say that again. What were the choices?
You're going to go try and find Jeffrey,
Okay.
or you're going to go with Quill and Kirdan as they go to her hideout.
I'm gonna stick with Jeffrey for sure.
Okay. So as you guys, and does that sound okay, Ophelia?
Oh yeah.
Awesome. As you guys enter kind of the external ring, if you would, it's hard to call it a ring because we just got out of the Aemarys Cove where things are so geometrical and so symmetrical, really. Here it's kind of a blob. Like the path that leads through town is never a straight line. If it was a straight line, it's intercepted by some new construction or a pillar that supports the aqueduct overhead. It's very hodgepodge in the town. But as you get closer in, it's much more intentional. And let me do this. The storm is still going strong. It's warmer here in town. It's probably 40 degrees instead of, 20 or less outside because you're literally sitting on top of a geothermal vent. Go ahead and roll senses for me, everybody.
Oh, there it is. Okay, that's a non-natural. Wait, is that okay? That's a 10.
10. Got it.
That is an 8 total for me.
8 total. Understanding that this is a new place, there's a storm going on, Ophelia meets it, beats it. So you're going to get this information too. Now, Firestorm specifically, you didn't grow up with any sort of like religion in town per se. You knew of people that were spiritualists, you knew of people that would worship, but they were typically guests here before they carried on somewhere else. Ophelia, let me ask what it means to you, and the both of you can respond, but for you specifically, what does it mean to you to hear a bell ringing out? Ding. Proud, sharp, strong. Ding. Goes out over the town again, through the storm, through the wind, cuts through it all.
Bells are usually... Well, bells can mean a lot.
Would Firestorm not know what this is?
Firestorm, this is new. Like, you know that this construction nearest the volcano, that monolith and that large colossus, those are new. But you are familiar with certain constructions that are older And this is one of those. This is a church.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. Is bells don't always
Are
mean
they?
churches and temples, but she was kind of hoping that it did.
It's an invitation to prayer or something like that. I don't know. This is new to me.
And I think that that's fair. You're not really sure if this is invitation to prayer. You just know, and you're looking around. It doesn't feel like it's noon or 3 o'clock, which there's 3, then 4, then 5 solid bell strikes. You also notice it's getting dark. Maybe it's associated with the time. But the more you draw close to it, you actually notice that it's on your path as you're kind of following with Quill and Kirdan before they break off. Quill is essentially saying, we're going to head over here and we're going to make sure we check in at the Rose Shop. If you're looking for a place to stay, that's where you need to go. All right?
All right,
We're going to head over
we'll catch up with you later.
Right. The two of them go off, which leaves Ruckus. He's ready for action and he's bored out of his mind. So you guys are going towards the bell, the sound of the bell, and looming in from the darkness. It's almost like a silhouette that comes slowly out of a curtain of snow. But it's not a steepled church. It's shaped like a very small, very square version of that Gothic Notre Dame cathedral. No buttresses. It's not nearly that big. But it does have that solid brick, straight, rectangular face. And then the roof just behind that, behind what is essentially the bell tower, it has one bell. So if Notre Dame has the 2 main spires in the front and the adjoining connection and the walls in between those spires, in the space between those initial pillars, there's one vacancy for a grand bell, probably the same size and width as Firestorm. And it's that same bell that is ringing out over this part of the township. Go ahead and roll me sense.
Which
Go ahead.
district is this in?
This is actually just in front of Iron Root. You guys have passed under the aqueduct and are now getting closer to the Obsidian Gate, just to the north of that district.
Okay.
Now, it's actually interesting because the closer you get to this worship site, temple, you're not really sure what to make of it. Ophelia, you notice, because of your intent in looking at the letter to glean and parse information, you notice that the insignia on that letterhead is also embossed into the side of the bell. And Firestorm, what you notice, many of the constructions on the central mountain, the volcano, the colossi, the obelisks, those weren't there before. And neither were the walls. It's not a wall that's defensive or protective of the districts that lead to the mountain. They separate the fancier terraces and fancier districts from one another. It's like someone got the city of Kael'vor as if it was one of those Costco pies that has cherry on this corner and banana cream over here and lemon meringue on this side. But there's that cardboard divider that keeps the flavors from ever touching each other. That's kind of how this looks. But these walls are dozens of feet thick. And sure, at first glance, you could see some tunneling that looks like it was intentionally carved with archways so people could come to and fro. But there seems to be a very clear delineation between Iron Root and the Obsidian Gate, at least. And it's the same in the other direction as well. And really, now that you're thinking about it, Firestorm, it's the same with every district. They're trying to separate themselves from each other.
That's really strange. It's like the different districts, of course, have a natural separation, but it's never been like. Does it seem like almost like they hate each other, or I don't know.
Go ahead and give me. You don't know the town anymore. That's what's frustrating to you. And so you're almost rolling blind here. I'm going to have each of you guys roll against what the city is feeling like, the vibes. If you want to observe with your eyes, do that. If you want to go with your awareness or your will to parse things with your spirit, then go for that. But tell me what you're rolling.
I'm definitely rolling
then-
will.
Great.
I'm rolling aware.
Great. I'm glad that you guys are doing different angles on that. That's good.
And I got a 9.
I
9.
also got a 9.
Hey, both of you beat it by 1.
Nice.
So what you can parse, I'll say it this way. Of the 20, 25 people that came on caravan with you guys, some of them are dispersing out. There's maybe 1 or 2 Stonebrow that are a part of different groups. You also see a Scaladrin. You see a Phelan, a Catfolk. You see a Volfolk. You see a Simulacrum.
Really
You
weird to
see-
see those in my city.
Exactly right. And you notice as you've come and gone that there's much more populace of those demographics, especially, and the Yotara and all these different lineages that just weren't here when you were, especially when you were a kid, but even as an adult, you never registered any sort of diversity in that way.
Wait, were the Yotara part of the Fellwinger?
The Yotara, in certain instances, were.
Because the Yotara were definitely also part of just Kilbor back in the day.
Correct.
So I guess different factions of Yotara, maybe?
Yes. And what you would remember too is that a lot of what concerned you about the war front was how your extended family would have perceived you to some degree, right? Because this is Firestorm we're talking about. But because you were supporting Malbanara, that said something. And Kilvor holds a very interesting place for you in that it was an invention town, a place of research, of magic, of innovation. And when it comes to war, you know this as well as anyone, Firestorm, that war drives innovation.
Yes.
And to some degree, a lot of the politics that occurred here in town may well have left over some unintended and very deep wounds. And suddenly the walls you see between the districts make a little more sense.
It's a real crap, I can't remember. But it's the Jets and the what?
The sharks.
That's what it is. It's a real Jets and Sharks situation.
Now, as you guys have this opportunity, I've brushed past our 9 o'clock break time. Does anyone need 5 minutes?
I would like 5 minutes, please.
Let's do that. Everyone at home, thank you so much for hanging out with us. We're going to take a 5-minute break. For those that are interested in the game or the process of developing it, go ahead and drop your comments in chat. We'd love to see your thoughts so far. Let us know where you're hailing from and what in the world you think of the game. Micah, how was that compared to how we left things the last game? I really wanted to make sure we gave Kilvor its proper due.
No, yeah, much better. I liked that it wasn't, because we had sort of talked about what Kilvor was, and then you described it as just Kilvor 2, and I was like, what?
Nah, you're right. No, and that was one of the more frustrating elements, because as soon as I finished the session, the nagging thought in my mind, and we talked about it too, but there was even that nag in the back of my head that said, that wasn't right. No, it's probably fine. And then you told me right then, it was like, oh, yeah, no, that needed to be changed. But yeah, I was glad to be able to update that for you.
It wasn't a big deal. Easy fix.
Yeah. It was actually really fun to try and picture what the city and the townships and the districts would look like, and politically speaking, why it would be that these places would be so isolated from one another. It actually speaks a lot more to the fact that maybe when you were a kid, a youth, that the city was probably more unified. Maybe not perfectly, but
right. Yeah. People were working towards a better Kilvor for sure.
Right. And now that vision of a better Kilvor feels like it could be in jeopardy.
Well, much like in modern day politics, the thing with back then is that the people had a common enemy.
Mm,
We don't have a common enemy these days,
correct.
so people tend to find some.
Correct. All right. Cool. I wanted to double check to see how the stream is going, so I'm not that much of a nerd.
How this what was going? Oh, the stream.
Yeah. All right. I'll shut that off. I don't need that. I don't need to see that. All right. Yeah. Part of I'll get a little bit into the lore of Aeternal and the game design specifically. For me, I, much like a lot of people during COVID, I had a draw to try and just find friends. You know, isolation sucks.
How's that going for you?
Well, I'm in a closet right now, so what does that tell you? I wanted a way to play D&D that didn't require me to feel self-conscious about missing a rule, right? And yes, I get that there's culture things with the tables that you play at and the people that you play with. Even so, I had a lot of support. I still felt self-conscious about trying to make sure that I knew all the rules. I still do. I love D&D, but I wanted to make sure that I could create a system that felt intuitive enough that if I wanted to be spontaneous or improvisational with how a character is doing something, not just what they say or how they act in a moment, but the mechanics provide a backbone for you to follow, but not constrain you into a mode of behavior. It gives you flexibility and power without making you feel like you've been pigeonholed into another barbarian role, right? So, as far as I've tried to design, this is a very modular system. In fact, if you want to up the difficulty of this particular engine, all you really need to do is include a different module. And it's all included in the base version of the game. If you, for example, are going to be playing with a group of 8-year-olds, 10-year-olds, really young people, and you want to run a session or a campaign even that is easy to pick up and easy to understand, you've heard a couple times in the game so far, we have brawn and grace and smarts and senses and will and aware, and those are the stats that we use, right? Those technically don't even have to be that complicated. The engine supports your players being able to use body, mind, and soul as their primary stats and leaving it at that. Likewise, if you really wanted to make it as simple as possible, what does combat become when you have to roll the dice multiple times in order to, do one thing, especially at higher levels? It can be a slog. It can be pretty slow. My goal was to make sure that even though D&D has its strengths in simulating combat and making you feel every punch and every move you make, this relies on you as a storyteller to default to describing what occurs and to flavor in a way that feels unique to you and your character, how you perceive them. It very much leans on what you're trying to do as a storyteller rather than a mathematician. Now, your strategy can still be involved. That's one of my favorite aspects of the build, is that you have the chance to utilize your character's natural strengths as you move forward in combat, in social situations. And maybe the last thing that I'll hint at, so we've already covered this a couple times tonight even, one of my favorite aspects of this game to keep the game moving quickly is to have moments of contested roles. In fact, every role in this game is contested. Typically, it's you versus Karma, me, the host. But you also have the chance to roll against other players and other NPCs in order to resolve things that you want to do in the game. And you rely on your stats, your natural proficiencies, and your mastery die, which is essentially the potential that you have in character, to reconcile what happens if you say, I want to scale that wall. I want to have espionage of that particular fortress. I want to go see about the aqueduct, whatever it is. I'm sure that these guys could talk about their favorite parts of the build, but we'll leave that for another time. Ophelia, you've had your break.
Yes, it was unproductive, but we are here.
I just need some water. right, we have a solid 37 minutes left to play here. Let's continue. Micah, you good to go?
Yeah, I'm eating some ice cream.
Eat your ice cream, Pookie. Enjoy.
Okay.
Now, I'm going to have you guys stay close to your dice. All right? The bell has rung 5 times, right? And we bring ourselves back to that moment. You guys are standing and looking up at this miniaturized version of what we would understand in the real world as Notre Dame. It's probably 40 feet tall. It's 30 feet wide. So it's not a very big building whatsoever, but it's enough to be able to have people hosted and feel comfortable in a religious setting. There's no demarcation to show any sort of major god or affiliation to a god or many gods. But all you know is that the inscription on your letter is also on the bell. And as you near this building, you see on a wooden plaque a date, which would essentially be about 100 years prior. And there's not a name per se. It's almost an epitaph, like what you'd see on like a grave. But it reads, "To those who seek earnest worship in a home devoted to the God's hands." And that's it. It's
Is
made
that
of wood.
gods, as in like multiple gods?
Multiple gods, yes.
Okay. GODS apostrophe.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we are definitely. I think we're in the right place because the temple that he ran in Brule was also dedicated to multiple deities. And also the bell has the same markings as this right here.
Now, as you guys have a moment to kind of look over the letter, Ophelia, you take another look up at that bell. Go ahead and roll me senses or aware when you have the moment. Oh, no. All right. Firestorm, you do it.
What am I doing?
I'm here. I just needed 2 seconds.
I got you. Okay. Either of you can roll this. So you can both see, but Ophelia is the one that I feel would be in character, kind of, yeah, that looks about right. And is just kind of bouncing back and forth for a moment, taking the whole thing in.
What are we rolling?
Senses or aware?
I'm going aware because it's my go-to. That was almost a crit. But instead it's a 9.
A 9. The bell sways forward and back towards you and away from you as it comes to rest. And just as it is about to come to full rest, you hear a tiny little impact of something hard against that metal. And when you look up there, you feel a realization. You feel familiarity before you recognize what you're seeing. But there's something that has stopped the bell from swaying, almost as a protection measure. Like the wind itself or the cold might be too strenuous on this ancient metal. And it's ironic because, at least for Firestorm, like, why would you want to preserve the metal? The metal was probably fine. And yet, they're trying to make it last. But what you recognize, Ophelia, is the thing that's stopping this, the thing that's preventing the bell from swaying further, especially in this storm, is actually a stone hand. Obscured, right? The bell itself doesn't have a whole lot of room around the outside. There's not a lot of silhouette. It's all basically open air, which is why you see when that hand reaches out from the side and grabs the bell and steps away. You may have recognized that particular hand coming a whole lot faster in Jericho's direction once upon a time.
Ophelia bounds up the stairs.
So you go up to the stairs of the front door. The double doors here, again, this is a modest place. In fact, someone even like as broad as the Firestorm might have issues getting into this very modest building, this worship house, this chapel. You throw open the double doors anyway. This feels like it was built for someone like you. It's that humble. And you throw it open, you go inside, and you immediately start looking up the ramparts to see if there's any sort of spiral staircase. You see that there are, at first blush, let me ask, are you taking your time taking in the sights, or are you just trying to get upstairs to see whatever that was?
I know that it's pretty much impossible to do both.
Yes. What's Ophelia want to do? Number one thing.
Number one thing, she wants to go upstairs. She wants to try to see if she can get upstairs.
Go ahead and roll a senses. And this one's not going to be super difficult whatsoever. I'm using a D6 for this. That's a 1, by the way. So whatever you roll, it's like you scan the room and simultaneously you see what looks like maybe 10 or more depictions of a god, a unique god around the room. So there's 12 different individual gods in this room. You also see, scanning from left to right, that over on the right, your right, at the front corner of the building, there is a spiral staircase, and it leads upstairs to a hatch. I imagine you dart immediately over there. You don't even stop to see what the pews are like or what the rostrum looks like. Firestorm, do you follow her inside?
Yeah, bear in mind, she did not say a single word to either Ruckus or Firestorm before she went bolting into the building.
Firestorm is a ride or die, okay?
Love it. Ruckus honestly sees people running and goes, I want to run too! And so he's... It's not even like
it is
ride
now
or
a
die.
race,
It's like
and Firestorm tries to trip Ruckus.
Go ahead and roll me Grace or Brawn.
That's gonna be Brawn for sure.
Right,
Oh, dang. I rolled an 8.
I rolled an 8. Meets it, beats it. Your intent is fulfilled. So, as he's like, I want to run. Oh, Stutter steps up the stairs, the carved stairs to the front door, as you're already running inside. Now, you see that Ophelia darts to the right. She's already going up the spiral staircase. Ophelia, you reach the top and you notice that there is this, it's a very sturdy set of stairs. They were carved in stone, as is appropriate for a stone brow establishment. But what you notice first is that the latch kind of jangles for a moment and then opens. And it opens quickly. It feels like it's a heavy door because you even tried to press against it and it wouldn't budge. So when you look face to face with Derek's The Simulacrum, what goes through your brain? What do you do?
Remind me again about how many Ophelia's tall Derek's is.
How many Ophelia's tall? I'd give it 5 or 6. He's a big boy.
Yeah, sounds about right. So she's just going to hug his leg.
You don't even wait for him to come down the stairs. The minute his foot comes into reach, you just... Whoop.
Yeah.
Nice. Derek's...
Hey, bud.
He has those hollows where his eyes would be carved out of the stone, and that green energy that acts as his eyes. You can kind of tell by how that energy disperses within the eye sockets where he's looking. And right now, it's looking right at you. There's no expression on his face. He can't emote. So what you are able to glean are the words that comes from him on the very rare occasion. And when he sees you, he straightens, cocks his head. Ophelia.
It is very good to see you.
As he moves, the stone grinding against itself in his joints, it's hard to describe a happy noise with stone against stone, but there is an energy to how he moves. There is a lilting, stilted almost energy and motion to him as he lurches down and grabs you as gently as these massive stone hands can and brings you up to his shoulder, where he then starts side shuffling out and around the spiral staircase back down to the ground level. Definitely not built for the size of person that he is, but definitely sturdy enough to make sure that someone like him can go up and down unimpeded, right? Firestorm, you see Ophelia being taken into the arms of this massive construct. He's probably anywhere between like 12 and 15 feet tall.
Jeez Louise. Okay. He's just gonna politely watch.
Ruckus is bowling in, and I need you to actually make a strength roll. Oh, shoot. I need to make sure that I get this.
I think you mean a brawn roll.
Yes, thank you. Baron.
Oh no.
Oh, no. Don't tell me this. Dude, what is up with these guys? What'd you get, buddy?
5 total by rolling
5
a 1.
total. Okay. He got a 6. So he was rolling brawn as well. And as you stand waiting politely, the doors still open, the wind and snow kind of blowing in. You don't really notice as this wall of human flesh smashes into you and knocks you to the floor, completely unaware that this is a place of worship. Now both of you are scrambling on the ground. That was funny! Now you must pay. So he rears up and tries to start hitting you. It's a playful, he's sparring with you while you're on the ground. It feels much more like jiu-jitsu wrestling and fist fighting at the same time. But he's got the better of you. He's pinned you down, and it's just this whole thing. Derek's stops, looks at Ophelia, and continues to watch these two. Ophelia, you watch as Derek looks up towards the rostrum, the stand, the stage of this small chapel, where you see, standing and resting on one of the front breastworks of wood at the rostrum, is a weary-looking, head-shaven, robe-wearing Jeffrey. And he's just smiling.
Oh, hi.
No, please, come right in and make yourselves at home.
Sorry. Boys, no scrapping in a temple, please.
Huh? Oh, I am sorry, sir. And he'll immediately stand. He'll try and offer you a hand, Firestorm. Firestorm, where are you?
Sorry, my wife was talking to you. What'd you say?
No, Ruckus has just offered his hand to you to help you stand again.
Oh. I'm gonna take it, and then as I've got my footing to get up, I'm gonna pull him down.
Okay.
So we're gonna switch spots.
I'm going to roll this at disadvantage to see what the results are. I rolled 5 both times, and he has a modifier of 4. So
I rolled 5 and have a modifier of 4.
Yo, meets it, beats it. Your intent is matched, sir. So you're able to pull him right back down to the ground. And I don't know, are you standing over the top of him now? Or are you down on the ground with him?
Yeah, we essentially just switched places.
Got it.
And then I'm gonna run away.
Shove yourself off and then go run over next to Ophelia. Oh, frick, she's in the arms of a giant automaton. So now you're very sheepish as you're looking around, and Ruckus dusts himself off. He's got this, I'm going to get you for that later, bro, look on his face. Jeffrey has already descended the side of the rostrum and is now walking up the aisle on that side. This chapel is so small that it's really only a series of like 10 benches in a single file line forward. There's no, this half of the building and this half of the building and a central aisle and then side aisles. It's just side aisles and a friggin' 10 benches that go to the front. It's humble. And by the smell of it, it's dusty and musty and old. Like this place has existed for a century and really not been very well kept in the past few decades. And even as the first thing that you might have remembered of Derek's is he was lighting candles in the temple back at Brule. So when Jeffrey says, Derek's, would you mind setting down Miss Ophelia? I'd love for you to get some light on in here so we can have a little conversation. And Derek silently nods and starts marching off as lightly as he can in this ancient sacred place. And you see that between his fingers, he's a magical entity first and foremost. Between his fingers, he doesn't even need to like snap his fingers at all. He just holds them close together, concentrates, and an arc of green energy dances between his fingertips. If he holds that and over the top of a wick, it'll ignite it. And he does that throughout the chapel here. Jeffrey approaches and offers a touch to his brow, which then sweeps out into a gesture of openness to you. And then as he completes that, he holds his hand to his heart and bends at the waist, bows at the waist to you.
I go up to him and I give him a hug.
Propriety be out the window then, huh? He'll do what he can to kind of stoop down and give you a genuine hug. Thank you. It's been a couple months since I wrote that letter, but I'm glad that you're here.
Yeah, sorry it took a bit getting here. The weather was absolutely terrible coming up. Weather, it started fine, but then towards the end of it got pretty nasty.
Yeah. That coast snow will get you.
Regardless, it's good to see you.
And you. And I'm sorry that I can't. I'm sorry that I won't be seeing Jericho this time around, but I am glad that you have had the opportunity to be with him and to enjoy his powerful presence.
Yeah.
Not to bring down the room at all, just want to make sure we can acknowledge what a great kid he was. Now, if I may, you all look like you could use something to eat.
Yes, please. Oh, have you met everyone?
I recall you. I mean, I've seen you around a little bit. This one, I'm not certain of. And he points to the Firestorm.
That's Firestorm?
And
Firestorm.
And the Mundani here.
That is Ruckus.
Get a little. Oh, hi. Well, excellent. Derek's. Oh, awesome. If you would, could you get the roasting fire started? We don't have a lot, but what we have, we are willing to share.
And I've got a bit of whatever's left from my pack, at least.
Oh, rations?
Happy to share that as well.
Oh, excuse me. That was not in character. That's just Dale being tired. That's fantastic. Yeah, Derek's. What do you have? Do you have grain? Do you have jerky? What are we working with here?
Let's see. She takes out a pack. Cuts some dried berries, about half a cheese wheel. No bread.
Jeffrey is literally like looking at you, looking at Derek's, looking at you, looking at Derek's. It's more than we have. And Derek's kind of just this awkward, like, gosh dang it, kind of a look like he was the one that went out to go get groceries and failed to get some things on the list. So when Derek's holds his massive hand out to you, I'm certain that he'd love to take whatever resources you're willing to offer and contribute that to a worthy dinner for us. Do you have anyone else that we should be expecting? I know that based off of what I've heard from Hegemet, it sounds like you have more people with your party.
Yeah, there's two of us. Kirdan and Quill is here as well.
Oh, Quill.
Yeah, she went to get in touch with some of the people she knows here. We're supposed to catch up with them later.
Okay. And he gets a little quiet. He's processing and he's not really talking. Let's see about dinner. Derek's. Make yourselves.
Ophelia will start taking whatever rations she has left out of her pack and drops them into Derek's hand.
Excellent. He takes those like the sacred treasure that they seem to be to him and carefully walks past the rostrum. There's actually an aisle on the right side where you're looking at the rostrum. There's an aisle that goes back to a series of rooms and suites, kind of like the one that was in Brule, but that one was much bigger. In this case, he disappears, ducks down, and kind of has to roll his shoulder up and under in order to fit into whatever access area that is. But he's gone. He's now on the move to prepare some dinner. Jeffrey has stepped away and is looking up at the murals, the frescoes. And the depictions above are... These individuals look like Mundani. They look like humans. And yet, they're elevated. They're strong. It's almost like their posture, their figure, their musculature, their eyes, they're all at the most elevated that they could be, the most ascendant, the most transcendent. They have energy, they have momentum, they have joy, they have intensity, they have wrath, they have holiness. There are men, there are women. And for the most part, you'd think that some of them look to have some animalistic qualities, but there's no depictions of like a Wolfkin or an Urson. And you're left wondering, for a place as humble as this and as diverse as the other temple was, this one feels a little limiting. But maybe you don't say that.
No, I'm not going to say that.
Yeah. Jeffrey looks up at one of these deities. The Truth Caller. It's a depiction of a woman. And this woman is tall, stately, straight back, shoulders back, confident, nose a little bit turned to the sky in confidence, a subtle smile on her lips, auburn hair. This is all in fresco. Her eyes are white. And she seems to hold a loom at her waist with a handful, an armful, a basketful of yarns and strings and spools. She's one of those that she is the ultimate acknowledgement that truth can be combined into one great whole. And I'm doing the best that I can to reconcile the truths that I've come to know. As far as I understand, one of the main reasons I was kicked out of Brule was because of Quill.
Because of Quill.
She was doing the best that she could to build her organization. And as I'm sure you're aware, she has at least one representative of her organization in most major cities across Malinara. The difference is Brule was her stomping grounds. And after one too many mistakes, that left a bit of a back door open to me. I was doing my best to protect and dissuade investigation into her and her friends. And when individuals like Friedrich Hollow caught wind of that, I was left high and dry. Understanding that Quill could never protect me. Understanding that in many ways I had put myself on the line on her behalf. That doesn't mean the change of scenery is any more or less welcome.
Well, I'm sorry that you had to go through that.
Well, we each have a trial to bear. Regardless, I hope that I am around for when you and yours discover your trials. It's better that when we find true friends that we don't let go through their trials alone.
Agreed.
Now, how's about the five of us get back there and get working? I want to make us some loaves of bread. Those berries are going to be fantastic. Come on. And he's just, suddenly he's back to sorts. He's back to his regular self, this energetic, fun, and deeply wise and perceptive person. But for that moment, there was vulnerability. There might have even been a little bit of spite. But it's gone. Maybe something's there, and maybe if and when Quill comes again, then again, maybe there's a reason why she insisted that she goes to check in with her people rather than seeking the help of a friend.
Yeah, I'm now wondering about that. Well, at the same time, also thinking that the next time I see Friedrich, we are going to have words.
Love it. As you go to the back rooms, you walk past these large stained glass windows. And in a way, these stained glass windows are a rough continuation of the deity that stands embossed and frescoed above. You're trying to appreciate them as you're moving. And Jeffrey, of course, hey, if you want to stick back, take your time. I'm not going to be making the bread within the 5 minutes that you're out here. So just relax, enjoy this. This is my home. Literally, this is where I was born. My mother, my grandfather. This is our place. So welcome.
It is very pretty.
Thank you. And as you're looking up, you see depicted with one of these deities, you're not really sure who it is, but it looks to be a very capable hunter with skins over his shoulders, and even the helm looks like the helm of some kind of canine creature that his upper jaw rests above his forehead like a cross guard. And he stands poised with his sword drawn and ready to strike. You look down and you see a pack of wolves that are reaching and biting and yowling up at him, but he is above all of that. He's beyond that. Go ahead and roll me one last senses roll. Jeez. Did you? What? Well, no. No, you didn't. Shut up. You've got to be kidding me.
She is the dice goddess.
She is the dice goddess, coming in clutch since freaking, what, 2023? Jeez.
Something like that.
So with your crit, as you let your eyes drift from that god, whoever it is, whatever kind of hunter it is, your eyes drift down, see this pack of wolves. The light outside is fading, so it's actually the candlelight inside here that brings some more light than what's outside. It's getting pretty dark out. So it startles you when you are able to look through the glass and you see, looking up at the display as well, is a wolfkin from outside through the glass. And in fact, because of your crit, you recognize that this is someone that was traveling with you. And as you watch, this is a tall man, tall wolfkin man. Around, I'd give it like 7 feet tall. A lithe simulacrum woman, body carved of wood and hair made from vines, it looks like. You're kind of, this feels very voyeurish. You're like watching them, but not watching them, and you're kind of hidden as they're looking up at this display. The simulacrum runs her arm through his, and she looks up at him. She's only about 6 inches shorter than he is, but she's very tall too. And he kind of cocks his head, looks down at her, looks up. A Phelan woman, shorter than the both of them, like half as tall as the woman, strides up with a bow slung over her shoulder. You can hear this because of your roll. Are you guys coming, or are you just going to have your little romantic moment? And the simulacrum woman, shut up, Winnie. Marston, you coming? And Marston, this Wolfkin guy, still looking up. I'll be there in a minute, darling. They walk off and his head hangs, his ears dip a little bit. And the next thing you know, suddenly, you're looking him in the eye through the glass. His eyes flash gold in the candlelight. And that's when he kind of double takes to see where his friends are, looks to you, little nod, and then he will continue after his party. And that's where we're going to end for tonight.
Yay!
We get to have a little interconnectivity.
Yay!
What does this mean for us? What's happening?
I have no idea what it means, but I love it. Marston, Winnie, and Azure Wright are here.
Yes. I was very excited at the prospect of bringing them on. So I thought, you know what? I want to do some fun things because there's some other story angles that we have not yet covered in great detail that these guys cover in great detail in their particular work of fiction. Well, to my playtesters, thank you so much for hanging out with me. To our audience at home, thank you so much for hanging out with us. This has been fun. I love doing this.
You guys don't.
It was a good time.
All right. If you have any further questions, make sure you drop them in the comments. If you enjoyed this, please share this video, this playtest with your friends, your family, your enemies, whoever you think would enjoy this from a real, like, if there's someone in your life that just loves supporting games for the sake of games, loves supporting stories for the sake of a great story, go ahead and let them know about this. We love this game. We love playing together, and we'd love to be able to share this with the world. So, until next time, I have been Dale. I've been portraying Karma, basically the GM of this particular game. I've also been playing with... Your turn.
Me or
No, you. Down here. The person down there. I think I'm pointing at Ophelia.
Okay. Right. My name is Kim. I play Ophelia.
And...
My name's Micah, and I play the Firestorm.
We are also both saddened and thrilled that our third playtester, Haydn, who portrays Kirdan of the Aemarys Cove, he had to step out in order to support his family. It was a great celebratory moment for them, and I'm not going to get into super detail, but we're super happy for him. All right, everyone, thank you so much again, and have a great evening.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Oh, yeah, there it goes.